Hi everyone, my name is Jie.
And my name is Valery. Today, both of us will be sharing about mental health in individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders. More importantly, we'll explore whether there is a role for physical activities and sports in helping this population. In IMH, both Jie and I are in the Department of Developmental Psychiatry, which provides services for adults and children separately. The Adult Neurodevelopmental Services, ANDS for short, serves individuals with NDD between the ages of 19 to 64 years old. The team provides assessment and treatment for the co-occurring psychiatric disorder and problem behaviours as well. For children 18 years and below, there are respective specialised outpatient clinic services to address the needs of the different neurodevelopmental and psychiatric conditions. Neurodevelopmental disorders, NDD for short, are disabilities associated primarily with the functioning of the neurological system and brain. It includes conditions like attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, autism spectrum disorder, learning disabilities, conduct disorders, cerebral palsy, and impairments in hearing and vision. For the rest of the presentation, we'll be using the term NDD, and it will refer to neurodevelopmental disorders. In a study conducted for outpatient adult cases seen in IMH between 2015 to 2016 in the ANDS department, it was found that the majority of the new cases were diagnosed with intellectual disability, making up to 52.9%, followed by those with autism spectrum disorder, 30.2%, and finally, those with both intellectual disability and autism spectrum disorder, comprising of the remaining 16.9%. It is common for individuals with NDD to have higher rates of physical and psychiatric comorbidities such as depression, anxiety, and psychotic disorders. Often, this population have different presentations of mental health issues as compared to the general psychiatric population. For example, instead of verbally expressing their anxieties or seeking the help they require, it can manifest in challenging behaviours. These behaviours, no matter how challenging, do serve a purpose for the individual. It could be a way of sensory stimulation, an attempt to get attention from those around them, or simply to avoid demands. Sometimes these behaviours are also a result of difficulties with emotional regulation and limited social interaction skills. We understand that skills impacts one's mental health and behaviours. In IMH, our patients with general psychiatric conditions like depression or schizophrenia may experience decreased cognitive and perceptual impairment resulting from their illnesses, and this can lead to inappropriate behaviours. Similarly, for our patients with NDD, due to their poor language and communication skills, along with poor sensory motor skills, they may also display other forms of inappropriate behaviours. We'll now look at a slide that talks about the different types of challenging behaviours. Based on the existing research on this population, we understand that these are some examples of challenging behaviours which we have categorized into the following 4 columns for this presentation. The first category is aggression and destruction, which includes behaviours displayed towards people or objects around the individual. Such examples would include biting, scratching, pinching, hitting, pushing, kicking, property destruction, and even yelling and screaming. The second category is self-injurious behaviours inflicted on oneself. Examples would be head banging, biting on one's hand, pinching self, or poking self in the eye. The next category is stereotypical behaviours, which can include repetitive movements or sound produced by the individual. So this would include movements like rocking, jumping, spinning, and running back and forth. The final category is called disruptive behaviour, which include behaviours like removing of one's clothing, inappropriate sexual behaviours, smearing feces on the wall, or defecating in public on purpose. As occupational therapists, we believe it's important to understand how challenging behaviours disrupts one's daily life. It's important to look at how often the behaviour occurs, how intense each episode is, and how long the behaviour would last each time it happens. Before we discuss how we can address these behaviours, we'll do a short activity to understand more about how we regulate ourselves throughout the day with different coping strategies when we're feeling tired or emotionally distressed. In the upcoming slides, there will be a question at the top with 2 pictures shown below it. You can choose the picture on the left or right that best describes your answer. If either of the pictures do not apply to you, you can think about an answer and keep a mental note of it. The first question is, what keeps you alert and awake throughout the day? Would it be the picture on the left, which shows us different types of soft drinks? This can include your favorite bubble tea drink as well. On the right hand side, it's a picture of caffeinated drinks such as coffee and tea. So, which picture best describes what keeps you alert throughout the day? What happens when you don't have it? How would that make you feel? Next question. What do you do when you're dozing off in a lecture or presentation? Would you chew or suck on some sweets as seen in the picture on the left? This includes chewing gum, lollipop, sour sweets, and even mints. Or would it be the picture on the right hand side showing different types of stretches one can do in standing? If neither of this applies to you, think about what is helping you keep awake right now during this presentation. Finally, which would you prefer? Listening and dancing to music as seen on the left picture, or engaging in other forms of physical activities like skipping, jogging, and doing weighted exercises? Perhaps you find yourself enjoying both, and that is fine as well. To conclude this activity, here are 2 key points we'd like to share with you. The first is that the activities and strategies you choose provides you with the sensory inputs that help you regulate when you're feeling emotionally distressed or tired. Secondly, we all have different sensory needs and preferences, and this in turn influences the choices we make for the coping strategies and activities we do in our life. As we all know by now, exercise brings about plenty of benefits to one's health. It can actually do a lot for individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders and other psychiatric conditions. Engaging in exercises enhances their well-being through the release of endorphins to make them feel good, as well as the release of dopamine to help with mood regulation. Participating in exercise is a great platform to regulate their sensory systems, as the movements provide feedback for the body, helping them to be more regulated. By doing so, they become calmer, and we do observe a reduction of challenging behaviours such as aggression, self-injurious, and self-stimulating behaviours. Through engaging in sports, they improve their motor skills such as coordination and balance. It also improves their endurance as they work on their stamina, which is important in helping them perform daily activities and engaging in different leisure and work pursuits. Participating in sports also allows the opportunity for them to gain hard skills, which increases their confidence and sense of self in return. I will now pass the time to Jie, who will share the second part of this presentation with you.
Thanks, Valerie. So now that we have covered why sports and physical exercises are important for this population, let us better understand some of these barriers that can affect their participation in these meaningful activities. At the level of individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders and mental health conditions, they may be presented with physical limitations such as having poor motor skills, which can include poor coordination and balance. They may also have sensory issues such as hypersensitivity to sounds or being overwhelmed in a crowded place. They may have cognitive deficits such as difficulty to plan and problem solve. Social communication can be difficult for them, such as understanding the complex instructions of learning the new rules of sports or expressing themselves to form peer relationships. They may also have behavior issues, such as displaying aggression when task demands are too high. At the family and caregivers level, many of them might face a lack of time and energy to bring out their child for sports activities, and many of them reported experiencing burnout. Additionally, they may not be connected to the community of other caregivers to share resources on the type of community programs available for their child. Some of them might also have the fear of what the public perceive of their child when they are outside, as well as having previous negative experiences of unsuccessful tries while engaging their child in sports. At the community level, there is insufficient available programs and trained staff to conduct sports-based activities for this population. Given the higher needs of this population, there is a need for more manpower and hence the financial cost to run these programs. In our work in IMH, we hope to address these barriers to enable participation of sports in individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders and mental health issues. After a thorough assessment on our patients, we provide individual or group-based interventions to improve their motor and social skills. We also work closely with caregivers and community partners through program planning and trainings. We also advocate for our patients to explore the use of community spaces such as national parks, active SG swimming pools and gym, fitness corners, and community centers that is available to the public. I'll be giving more examples on how we have liaised with the community partners later. Moving on, it is important for us to understand how participation in sports by this population can look like, as they will differ from our usual understanding of sports. Studies have shown that individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders can do better with more supervision and support, and this can include physical facilitation to guide their movement while they gain mastery. As they learn better by repeating tasks to learn a new skill, it is good for them to have that supervision as well. Many of them thrive better in individual than group sports, such as swimming and cycling. However, depending on the severity of their disorders, some can participate in group sports with supervision provided. It is also important to provide a just right challenge when it comes to sports, which means the task should be difficult enough to provide a challenge, but not too difficult that the person gives up in frustration. Hence, our role as occupational therapists, we will often have to modify the task demands and ensure that the activities are achievable and meaningful to them. It is also important to incorporate physical activities into their daily routines. In the example of an admission stay in hospital, it can often cause disruptions to daily routines due to the nature of staying in a restricted environment. It can lead to health complications such as obesity, unwanted weight loss due to deconditioning, or developing unwanted behaviours such as increase in self-talking or self-stimulatory behaviours. This slide hence shows an example of a schedule in our adult neurodevelopmental disorders ward, and I have highlighted in yellow some of the physical activities such as morning exercises or outdoor walking group, as well as a sports group that can run across the day. We also try to incorporate exercises in music and movement group as our patients dance along to music. We'll now move on to take a look at some of the more mainstream sports and leisure activities that we have carried out with our patients from IMH. Just a gentle reminder not to take any photos for this segment for our presentation due to confidential purposes. The picture on the left shows some of our patients from the outpatient setting participating in kayaking at MacRitchie Reservoir. The higher functioning individuals were given single kayaks, while the lower functioning individuals were paired up with a volunteer in a two-man kayak. The picture on the right shows a patient playing badminton in the multipurpose hall in IMH. Both of these activities require great coordination and balance, something in which we often have to work on with our patients. Besides the multipurpose hall, IMH also has other facilities such as the basketball court, running track around the perimeter of the hospital, gym, fitness corner, and the playground. The hospital believes in regular participation in physical activities to improve their mental health. Within the inpatient wards, occupational therapists also focus on exercises to improve the function of the general psychiatric patients. They run groups to utilize equipment in the ward such as the treadmill and other gym equipment to improve their physical endurance and to regulate their emotions. This in turn contributes to their mental health being and the recovery process. For some of our lower functioning patients, we engage them in modified sports. We match their abilities to the type of activities while incorporating the just right challenge approach with supervision provided. In 2019, we liaised with Home Team NS for an outdoor event for patients staying in IMH. The goal was to promote outdoor activities and to reduce stigma on mental health. Another objective was to improve community partners' capabilities in managing our patients. Parents were involved in this event to improve their confidence in managing their child in physical outdoor activities. Some of these activities that were conducted include relay games and modified obstacle course as shown at the picture on the left, and group skipping rope activity as shown as the one on the right. These activities were helpful to work on our patients' coordination and the ability to cope in a multi-sensory environment. During our collaboration with Home Team NS, We were also able to use their on-site facilities to expose our patients to high and low element activities. The picture on the left shows a patient crossing a suspended net with the instructor guiding him from the front. The picture in the middle and the picture on the right are low element activities where they had to maintain their balance while walking across a log and a tightrope. Parents who attended gave positive feedback at the end of the event. So some of them shared that they were surprised and encouraged to see how their child were regulated during the activities. Community partners also shared that they felt more confident in managing them by the end of the day. In the next slide, it shows a few pictures of our patients participating in nature walk at Labrador Park with their parents during a parent-child bonding camp. We have been running similar programs for the past 8 years in IMH, and some of these places that we have visited include Pasir Ris Park, Sentosa, and Bukit Timah Hill. By participating in nature walk, it is a great way to improve their physical endurance and frustration tolerance as they had to walk on different terrains and experience different hot weather. It is also a great opportunity for parents to learn how to engage their child in public spaces and facilitate integration into the community. We will now watch a 1-minute video that features a sport coach and parents engaging their 2 children with neurodevelopmental disorders in outdoor activities.
So yesterday we were hiking. Sophia's like, "This is hard. I'm tired." I'm like, "No, you can do this."
Look, we're going mountain.
I know we're going up.
It makes a big difference for their mindset, and they realize that they're capable of what everyone else is capable of.
Oh, there you go. Just because Joaquin and Sophia have Down syndrome does not mean that we can't do the things that other families do.
Mental disability is often put in a special category, but out here they're treated the same as everyone else.
Hold on. You got it, Soph. Wyoming's open space is a parent's dream. Just untouched landscape. Here we could just let them go. Let them roam. Let them run.
It's always that kind of unknown factor, that fear factor of going higher, that scares people. When you're allowing someone like Sophia or Joaquin to go a little bit higher, it just raises their own self-confidence level. To see a challenge in front of them and overcome that. And that creates a self-confidence that will spread throughout their life.
You're lucky.
Go, keep going higher.
Go higher. You do it.
From this short clip, we have seen how 2 children with neurodevelopmental disorders were able to participate and engage in outdoor activities such as trekking and rock climbing, as well as how they overcame the challenges and gained confidence from the process. Though we do not have such landscape and nature in Singapore, we can still fully utilize the available community resources such as our public pools, gyms, nature parks, stadiums, to engage individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders and mental health conditions in active leisure activities. In conclusion, we have identified that there are various benefits of participating in sports and physical activities for individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders and mental health issues. Through sports, these individuals can gain motor and social skills, which help their emotional regulation and hence reduce challenging behaviours. With support from environment and modifying activities to provide adequate challenge, individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders has the potential to learn new sport and gain self-confidence. Lastly, the process of community integration is an ongoing process, and the efforts to continue advocating for this population is key. We therefore hope to continue working closely with our community partners such as Sport Cares to better support and integrate individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders and mental health issues into community spaces. So here are some of our references, and we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you.